Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. You know that rule, if something works, don't change anything. So if something doesn't perform well, then you tweak it here, you change that, you try different things, so you make it work. So in this case we have this chief of staff of Ukraine, and as I always say, there's no smoke without fire. This is the second time when I hear that the Ukraine chief of staff, military guy, Zaluzhnyi, is about to be replaced. That's what some people say. And again, if Ukraine is performing so well on the front, why would you want to change him? Well, sometimes you need to change the personnel if it doesn't work, doesn't perform well. We know that Ukraine has been winning since the beginning of the war, so why change? Because that's not so. That's the short answer. So this article comes from the New Voice of Ukraine from December 15th, 2022. This is the title. Some in Zelensky's administration would like to replace Zaluzhnyi, media report suggests. So the Zaluzhnyi is this guy. Alright, so we put a face on some name here. Let's see what this guy is saying. Some members of Ukraine present, not Zelensky, no. Zelensky's administration are thinking about replacing the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Valery Zaluzhnyi, with the commander of the ground forces, Alexander Syrsky. The Economist said in an article on December 15th, and I'm quoting, rumors persist that the presidential administration might be inclined to replace the popular but independent-minded General Zaluzhnyi with his former boss, Syrsky, the report says. I told you that before. My theory is that once Ukraine will realize that once the military, the Ukrainian military, the generals realize that their country has no way of winning whatever they are fighting, the Russians, and they look behind and they see the destruction and the loss of life of their nation, they will say, you know what, maybe the politicians should try to stop it right now and discuss with the Russians whatever the Russian thieves would want. Take those territories where they are majority Russian ethnics living and let them be. It's a possibility, instead of having everything blown up, their nation. Now the politician, the guys over there, the president and all those guys, they might not care that much for what the military men might. This is just, talking right now. It's nothing, and they know that those guys over there are not, they don't, they are on someone else's, you know what I mean. So maybe these guys say, wait a minute, we're fighting a losing battle here. More people die, more destruction. Those guys say, keep going. Then some people get tremendously rich. The country will be razed to the ground. We're going to be under total control of those guys instead of being independent, as they say we're going to be, Slava, Ukraina, blah, 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 blah. And some people are maybe really patriots. And maybe they will stop following orders. Maybe they will ask questions. And those questions, they will not ask the questions of Zelensky or Zhmyhal or Reznikov. Not those. They will ask the questions to the other guys. And the other guys will squash them. Unless these guys are going to do something else, and then we're going to have an internal scuffle, which I said about like 7 or 6 months ago, maybe about 6 months ago, about over there, about what's going on in Ukraine. And I said, one thing that could happen is the military will break into factions. Some want to fight, some don't want to fight, and the guys from outside might intervene to have them fight with the Russians. Well, are you crazy? You're supposed to follow orders. But hey, this is just a theory. I have no evidence to, to say it's so or not. But it's a possibility. In another article about Zaluzhnyi, The Economist said, and I'm quoting, "Some in the president's circle would like to replace him." Who could that be? Who could have that power? The defense minister? The other kosher guy? Reznikov? Is that what it is? Who else could have the power? Only Zelensky has the power to fire that guy. And if could the defense minister probably could do that, but in this kind of circumstances probably will have to have Zelensky's approval, obviously. And Zelensky would ask other people's approval, and so on. So some in the president's circles would like to replace him, Zaluzhnyi, with General Alexander Siersky. Zaluzhny's supporters claim that the commander-in-chief has not visited. So Zaluzhny's supporters claim that the commander-in-chief, and I'm quoting, has not visited the front lines because the same officials have barred him from doing so. Why would you do that? So you don't have loyal people that will answer directly to you. You're going to have intermediaries. Because, as I always said, you can be the boss of a company. Let's say you're the director, the owner, and you bark orders. Hey, I want you to do this. I want you to do the next in line. The directors of the departments, right? Or the manager, supervisor, how do you want to call them? And you tell them, hey, Gigi, your department needs to do this. Hey, Michael, tell them. And they say, yeah. And none of them does anything. Your words mean nothing. How are you going to change? You go and say, okay, I'm gonna fire you. You get another one that's not going to listen to you. So you can't lead. You can't have things done if the guys between you and the guys who are actually doing it will not do it for you. And that's something that I observed in Trump's administration. When Trump was saying certain things to certain departments, those departments were saying, yeah, we're doing it. And then you find out the guy was fired. Another guy was hired. And again, Trump, you gonna do this? Yeah. And after a while, the guy got fired. They say, Trump has moods. Was it so? Or the guys did not do what he was telling them to do. Or maybe that guy was telling the guys underneath him, who he did not bring, say, hey, you know what, you gotta do this, you gotta do it. Yeah, we're gonna do it. And when Trump was talking with the guy that he put in place over there, in charge, the guy said, well, I can't make those guys do anything. I can't fire them. I mean, I can, but then it's gonna be dysfunctional or whatever. So, you see, in this case, Zaluzhnyi is not allowed to go and visit, possibly, to not do something. Otherwise, why would you do that to him? Why would you prevent him to go on the front? Because you're concerned with his safety? Okay, we're not children here, okay? So, the magazine writes that Zaluzhnyi popularity allegedly, and I'm quoting, has generated some insecurity in the president's office, which has actually polled Ukrainians to ask if they would vote for the general's political party, even though he does not have one. End quote. Both generals say that they completely trust each other and don't want to interfere in politics. They're afraid that they will be blown up. That's what they say. Because you don't know who... the guy who protects you can be always paid. And then they take care of you. Look at the US president. The Secret Service. Is he in charge of a Secret Service? Who's in charge of a Secret Service? One person. Two persons. If those persons give the order, or other people are giving you, I don't know exactly how that works. I don't know if it's only one person who gives them all order, or that order must be verified by 2, 3, or 4, like eliminate the asset here. The guys over there that are supposed to follow orders, they're not gonna question the order. They're gonna do it because that's their job. They're gonna say, wait, how do you know that? I don't wanna go do that. Huh? Because he's an asset. That's all you need to know. Boom. And that's what they're gonna do. Unless that's a certain kind of way of, if you don't receive the order from 3 sources, you're not gonna apply it. You're not gonna follow it. You're not gonna complete it. Because otherwise, why? To prevent this kind of situation when the Secret Service receive one order from one guy and then they do it and say, wait a minute, that guy was and that guy flies to another country, if you know what I mean. That's not going to extradite that guy ever. So you have to. It's harder to buy them, 3 of them, instead of buying 1, basically. So anyway, but it's not impossible. With time, you can buy all of them, not 3 or 4. So I remember when it was that incident a few months ago, where it was a popularity contest between Zelensky and this general, where the general said something and the president did not like it and said, you know what, I don't care, I'm not going to say anything, my job is just to fight wars and that's it. But he said, I was asked a question and I answered it the way I thought was the best way to answer it. Or anyway, he says here that the army is out of the politics. Srisky said. Srisky is his former boss, who probably wants to be now, who is going to replace Zaluzhnyi. This is how it should be, and this is required by the law. Yeah, but you can get out of the military and be a civilian. Once you're a civilian, you can open your own party, can't you? But then they're going to say you cooperated with the Russians, and they will arrest you and they will throw you in jail. And believe me, now is the military, it's martial law. So, okay, it's easy. So earlier in 2022, the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine reported that Russian propagandists were spreading fake narratives about an alleged rift between Ukraine's general staff and the president's office. Again, smoke without a fire. Could be, right? Just propagandists. Back in August, NV's source, that is New Voice of Ukraine, source of the Zelensky's office, said that the administration was satisfied with Zaluzhnyi's work and wasn't going to transfer him to another position. When that article that I covered then about this situation, it was a guy, I can't remember the name and what his title was. He was talking about it and he said, in Ukraine, that's a popularity contest now. And the president's office, Zelensky's office, has a big PR team around him that work day and night to portray him as something. And look at the pictures that he's always, I mean, I don't know if you look, but I look every day and see the pictures, the Ukrainska Pravda, New Voice of Ukraine, Ukrinform, the 3 main guys. When they put Zelensky is like kind of like me, you know, interesting faces, and he's a weasel, you know what I mean? Unlike me. Anyway, this is the way, and it's a big PR, and I don't think that the PR is necessarily Ukrainian. I think it has a lot of stuff from here. But I don't know, I'm just saying, I have a gut feeling. No evidence to support it, just, I have a something. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.